Welcome everyone to the NEOS Academy on templates and document generation. It's glad to see everybody here. I see that number keep growing and that is just awesome to me. Again, that's what we want to see is everybody in attendance. Just a quick little housekeeping things. Pam Hodge is our business consultant. She'll be working with me on the Academy today. So what we're going to start with real quick is our administrative items. One of the things that we want to look at when you're doing this and setting your Word up. Again, we're using the web-based version of Word. You want to have that add-in working. So you want to click on the question mark. And that takes you to our support portal. We're going to scroll down in the support portal and go down to the MS Word add-in. From here, it'll take you installing the NEOS Word add-in. You have to have this installed and operating for your tags to work properly. Okay. And it walks you through step by step everything you need to do. And then you will, in your Word, under the insert menu, you're going to get this prompt tag settings and list here. And then you'll log in using your same username, password, and company ID you do to log into NEOS. Okay. So again, that has to be done first. Also, for your, if you can't create templates, under your settings, permission groups, general permissions, under directories, create documents and forms. Are they enabled, add, modify, or delete? If you are not, can add or modify, you will not be able to create documents and templates. Again, it's under that group, and I went to general group permissions, down to directories, create documents and forms. Mr. Tyler, give me 1 second. I'm going to show you exactly how you can see if it's already installed. So Sean Taylor asked, how can we tell if we already have the Word add-in installed? In just a second, when I start working in that, I'll show you how and where it's at, where you can see if it's already been installed or not. All right, I just wanted to cover those few housekeeping things. So when you want to start editing or looking at a template, you can always click on the settings button, go to your templates. And again, this is a list of all of your current templates that you currently have in the system. And we're going to talk about adding a new one here also. So if I want to edit one, I can click on it. It's going to show me what it looks like, and I can click on the little eye that's here under template source to preview that item. It brings it up in Word, and then right there under insert, I should be able to have my tag, prompt, settings, all of those things there for me. That's how you can tell if it's installed or not. Sean. Tesha McGee asked, we do not have the permission to add, modify, delete option for our account. How do we get this access? Your administrative group, your administrators, are the people that administer your NEOS account. They are the ones that have to give you those permissions. Mr. Taylor said, good, got it. Lucy Gonzalez, how do you install the prompts on a new computer? I don't, I'm going to keep going. Lucy, I'll try to get to that in a second. I don't know what you mean by install these prompts on a new computer. And I see Pam's answering, which is good. So again, now that I've got that template, I can always click on the I and go through and edit that item. So when you're looking at these bookmarks that are here and you can see them, you can always go to insert, tag, and it's going to ask you, is it a case? Is it an intake document? If it's a case document category, then it shows you all the tabs. So when you're looking at the tabs in a case that are here, it's asking you which one of those tabs do you want to pull those tags from. So if you go to party, it's showing you all of the tags or bookmarks that you can pull into this document that are in that tab. Okay. So to get one, all you have to do is click where you want that bookmark to be. You can actually type in, it'll see that bookmark that you're trying to get, and you can double click and it'll add it. And that's how you add your tags to get that to pull in information. And again, if you're choosing that name or case party's first name, last name, and those things, when you go to generate documents, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second also, when you go to generate, it's going to prompt and ask you, who are we having or who are we writing this letter to? Because you could have multiple clients or multiple parties in this case, and it doesn't know what party to go to. So it becomes a selection or a drop down at that point for you. All right. So I see the questions are heating up and Pam's doing everything she can to get going. Steve, Mr. Babcock, if you would, I would log out and log back in and see if that helps. If that doesn't help, we can definitely get with you after this and get that, try to see what's going on and get that taken care of for you. All right. So again, it doesn't matter when you're looking at your templates, if that's the one you want to edit or whichever one you've got. Now, say you want to bring a new one in. I can always go into my NEOS testing, grab a document, demand the insurance adjuster. And I'm going to add. And then I'm going to pull or push to that template source. Click on the folder. I'm going to say it's NEOS testing, demand the insurance adjuster. And I'm going to put Academy in front of it. What type of document, when I create this, is it a correspondence? Is it a pleading? It is a deposition. What is it? Is it a demand? Do I want it in a certain template category? And again, these are added bonuses to when they go to create this document, they don't have to fill these things out. I want it to be in the case and I want it to be active. If I wanted it to go to my intake, I could always go to my intake. And of course, it's only going to show up when we're doing intakes at that point, because you also have the same document generation or document creation in your intakes that you have in your regular cases. Good. Save. If you notice, it's going to start saving. Bam, gave me the blue check mark. That tells me that it's done. And now it's here. At that point, I can click on it just like I clicked on the other one. I can go through and start saying, all right, click on the I, and I can start dressing this up the way that I want it. Do I want the date? Of course. I'm going to go to insert, tag. Of course, it's wanting me to log back in. Case. Special. Current date. So I'll click right here and click current date. So it brings that date in. Again, I can bring all of this information in. I can go back to party, name, full name, and I can go through and finish setting these items up. Date of incident, of course, it's going to be there. All right. I just want date of incident. Date of incident, I know it's here. Claim no, I'm going to take that to insurance. No, I won't claim. Second. And I can get the date of accident. Who are we sending the letter to? I represent, and then we can have our name, full name again. And again, we're going through setting these things up. All of these tags that you've got here, when you choose a category or tab that it's going to pull from, it's showing you all the tabs that are currently in that tab. All right, give me just a second. I'm going to stop for a second. Somebody said, Sean Taylor, falling behind quickly. When I go to doc preview and click on insert, I do not get a drop down. Okay, so
Eric, I got some of these, so just be mindful.
Okay, I saw Mr. Taylor. You're typing, and I'll slow down because I know sometimes I do go a little fast. So when you went into settings and templates, and then you click demand to insure, and then you click on the preview or the little eyeball, it'll bring it up. And at that point, when you go to insert, you should see your tags and those things. If that's not there, that means that add-in that we spoke about up front is not installed. All right. Sean, I'm hoping that's helping you. How do you, and so one of the questions that I'll have is, how do you put it in the intake phase? So when you're creating it, you're telling it if you want it to be in the case or in the intake. I was just, it was killing me. All right. So when you go to add that new one, that's when your template type is case or intake. If it's intake, put it to the intake. Okay. So Edna Chavez asked, in the same or where we add the templates? Yes. So when you go to settings and templates, click on the add. You don't have to type in a template name because it'll take the name of the template you choose. So right here where it says template source, click on the folder and go grab that document. Notice once I chose it, that's what it named it. And again, I can change that name at any point then. I knew this was going to be a busy one, Pam. I'm sorry. All right. Pam, you're answering that one. And hopefully that's what you were asking for, how to add them. So under settings, templates, add. And then once you've added it, then you can click on it and make those adjustments as needed. Again, you have to have that word add in installed for this to work appropriately and correctly. That has to be. Okay. K Sheets asks, is there a way to show just the working screen as the print is small? Hang on, let me see if I can blow this up a little bit for you. Can you see it now? I'm hoping. And again, does anybody know how I did that? If you hit the control button and roll the wheel on your mouse, it will make your web browser bigger or smaller as needed. Find what's comfortable for you, and then you can set it at that point. Just a little tech tip. So one of the questions that I was seeing too, so let's get into the case. When we look at the party field, you could also use that AKA name as Mr. or Mrs. Smith, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, or whatever you wanted at that point. Same if you use the salutation bookmark in their address, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, Mr. or Mrs. Hill, whatever it may be, you can use both of those. Okay. Charles, in addressing the clients on the letters or just adjusters, you can address it to anybody you want. Again, once you get into those templates, it's all about using those items that are there. If you wanted this to go to the insurance adjuster, so of course I'm going to go insurance or case, insurance, and then I can see adjuster, first name, full name, company name, all of it that I needed. Adjuster, full business, full address, all of those things. But again, it's pulling that information from what you guys have entered in the system. So it's just about setting those things up in that tab. And having those things set up, because of course that's your adjuster information, that's your insurer information. You could have separate bookmarks that pull in both of those items. So Charles, I hope that helps you. Okay, so one thing I just want to talk about real quick. Kate, I'm glad you said it. Kate said, my word add-in is under Neos, not insert. Yes, ma'am, that is correct. If you have the Word version or the actual Word document, your desktop version, if you have the desktop version, there is a Neos button at the top. Please note that Word desktop version add-in is not supported anymore. As it is going away, Word desktop version is going away. So that's why we're using the web version to do that. So if you have your desktop version, same concept, you're just going to go to Neos rather than insert. So I think it's Louisa asked, can you demonstrate tags for litigation file? For example, the caption, docket number, etc. So of course, so when you come in and you want to see certain things, different dates, when you go to your tags, case dates, you see all of your case dates. They would be used the same. Again, those bookmarks or those dates that the firm is using are the ones that you want to see here. We have a lot in our sales database, so there may be some stuff in here you're like death, demand sent, dispersal date, discovery cutoff, discovery deadline. Those are the same thing. True, but because we deal with everybody, some firms like it this way, some states like it that way, some jurisdictions want it this way, that way. That's why you may see multiple like that. And again, as your administrators for the firm, you guys can go in and clean those dates up and name them to what you guys are most to seeing and used to seeing. Okay.
Okay, Eric, can we go back to the top and answer a couple of questions?
Sure.
So how do you specify the gender in your letters?
I don't know, Pam. How do you? Gender here, again, is your bookmark that you want to use. So when you're going through and looking at those items, I'm getting to it. No, I didn't want to replicate it. Oh, I guess I had it open. Again, it's that same bookmark. So if you're talking he, she, them, they, it is all about using the bookmarks. And here's the thing that I've said for the last, has it really been this long? 17 years. Garbage in is garbage out. So you guys have to make sure that you're entering those fields in the actual fields where they belong. Because if you don't, it will look like blank entries in that document like this once that document gets created, if you don't choose those fields. So that's why those things have to be filled out and filled out correctly, because that's what is, if it's not filled out, like current date, of course, is going to populate. But if we don't choose a party, it's just going to look like this in the actual letter because it doesn't know any information to pull because you haven't instructed it or told it. So again, it's all about that gender. And making sure that that stuff, usually what I tell everybody is please, if it's anything, fill out that party tab as much as you have, as much information as you can get, fill it out and make it right, because that's what's going to make your templates work. All right, Pam, who's next? When I make a service list template and I choose the council tab, it's not pulling over emails and it's listing last name first. How do I change that? Kathy, I would definitely want to work with you and look at that and see why it's not pulling that information. And you may have to use council email address. I believe it's one of the bookmarks, and definitely look at that. If not, we can always put in a prompt for those that have never seen a prompt. If there is a field that is here, like you were going to say this check number is X, but you don't know how much a check number is going to be because every single check you write in your office is different. You can always come in and say whatever it is. So then it's going to prompt me and ask, enter the check amount. So if there's not a tag that's associated, you can always use the prompt. And again, those are the options: currency, date, name, select. And if it's not one of those, it's a text field. They can type in whatever they want. Good.
Okay, so the next one. How do you edit a template and resave it, or does it automatically resave?
You have to resave and go through the whole process again. I'm kidding. So when you open it and you're making those adjustments or changes, when you click on the I and you make those adjustments or changes, say, I don't like this whole paragraph and I take it out. That's it. It's done. Should be done. Of course it's done. It's gone. Because it is live when you're opening it in that web. It is live and updating as you do it. That's why when we say me and Pam can both work on this document at the exact same time, the only difference is it's always going to take the last changes. So if she's working up top and I'm working down below and she closes it, it's going to save her changes. And then I close it, it's going to save my changes. So please be cautious and careful if you guys are both working on the exact same document, that someone else may be making those adjustments or changes while you're making those same adjustments and changes. Okay. Stephen Babcock wrote, we don't use the new Outlook at our firm. It will online work with on the new Outlook. Yes. Yes, sir. For right now, everything's working with the web-based and the desktop-based Office suite, not just Outlook, but the entire Office suite. Pam, what was the date you gave me on that? They're stopping the desktop app. Was it October of 25?
Is it September, October, something like that is what we found
2025.
online.
So just note that in the next 2 years, your desktop apps like Word, Excel, PowerPoint are going away. It is only going to be web-based in Office 365 in this event. Cool. Can you go back over how to do the add-in? Well, of course I can. So when you open Neos, the very first thing you want to do is come up to this question mark, the help. It's going to take you to our support portal. I call it the supportal. Scroll down and you're going to see that MS Word add-in. Click on it and then just go through the steps. Bridget, I hope that helped you. Bridget asked, can you go back over how to do the Word add-in? Hopefully that gave you what you were looking for in that answer. Letitia wrote, can you create from an RTF file? I haven't tried it with an RTF file because it is a Word-based system. I don't believe RTF doesn't give you the functionality that Word does. So I would tell you, no, from an RTF file, you can't. Now, what I would say is open that RTF file, save it as a Word document, because they're essentially just like a notepad document, a .txt file. You can save those as Word documents or open Word and open that document and then resave it. And then you're going to get the functionality in operation with it. Okay. Michelle Day, this is basically a beginner's webinar overview, how to do the basics, getting into those functionalities. If you want more advanced template training and those things, I always encourage you to reach out to your trainer and get something scheduled. Or again, in that question mark, there's the Learning Hub with a full library of vignettes or videos. And you can always scroll down and see everything you need to see or what you wanted to work on. And if I'm not mistaken, that's PDF coding for templates. Merge documents. And I believe that goes through showing you how to create them and do all of that stuff with it. Is there a trick to inserting a pic of the if-then statements. I'm trying to insert a pic of a signature dependent on the staff and the role. So again, when you're looking at the staff, you have that digital signature. That's a bookmark. That's a tag that you can bring into that document. Okay. Thank you. Just the add-in is going away, or are you saying the desktop version of Word is okay? Kate, the entire desktop version of Office Suite. Please don't think it's just Word. The entire desktop Office Suite is going away. The add-in, that's why we are preemptively using the Word add-in now on the web version to get you prepared for once that does happen, and using that now, so it's not just a shock once it finally does happen. Because I promise you that we've saying this 2 years out, and there's still going to be people that go, I can't believe it's gone. I promise you, it's going away. Tammy Quackbush, also, if this Microsoft add-in is so crucial to this class, you should have told us in advance to get that sorted out before the class so we could actually get everything out of the class we need. Rest assured, if you didn't have the add-in and now you're getting the add-in, we will send you a copy of this recording so you can always watch it back again and go back over everything just like normal. How can you add one more email address for service? Again, there's a couple of options. Whenever you're choosing a bookmark, and I'm just going to grab something real quick. Notice that insert multi-record. When it does that multi-record, you can type in there what you want for the second party email, third party email, fourth party email, and keep going. Notice it added the third party email here. And again, once we go to choose those, that's when it's going to actually have us choose those items so that it'll say second party email, third party email, and so on. Lucy, I hope that helped you. So you always want to use that insert multi-record label. So even if you have 4, 5, 10, 15, you're going to say the first one, and then you're going to do second, add it, then change it from second to third, then third to fourth, then fourth to fifth, and fifth to sixth. Every time hitting this insert tag, because then it'll add each one of those individually for you. If we're currently using the desktop version of Word, then are you saying we need to reinstall the add-in for the online version of Word? Lisa, at this time, you don't have to do it. Just note that we are not supporting the desktop add-in anymore. We are only supporting the web version of the add-in at this time. We stopped publishing it 4 or 5 months ago, maybe 6, and have stopped supporting the desktop version of it. So just as a heads up. Terry Johnson, are you saying the desktop version would? No, I am not saying none of that. What I'm saying is that in 2 years, Microsoft is going to cut off the desktop version. It still interacts and works just like normal right now. Everything works and operates the same way. It's just in 2 years, that desktop version of Word is going to go away. So you're only going to be able to use the web version or the web-based version of the Office suite. All right. Jenny, how do you fix a template that has fields that overruns the text in the body of a document? So if you add a, like here, it's pushing that to that second line. But once it fills in, it's actually going to self-correct. Now, if it's self-correcting and it's still pushing stuff down, that's when you can go into the template and change any of this information that you need to change or adjust it and use your regular formatting, just like you would in any other version of Word. You can adjust that formatting to get it to where you like it. If it's overwriting, your tags shouldn't overwrite words in the document. It should push those like an insert rather than an overwrite. So I'm hoping that helps you. And again, you want to edit it just like you would just if you were going in to look at it, clicking on the eye that's in templates. So now that we've got our template created, we can then go into any case, go to our case docs tab, click that new document, choose our template, and this is where I was talking about it, adding those different fields. Second email, third email, fourth email, fifth email. This is where it's going to show. If I don't select one of these fields, it's just going to fill in the tag that was associated because there was nothing to fill in because I didn't fill it out. And then generate documents. Again, I can rename that document here if I wanted. And generate. You notice I get my little, I call it the little sideways barber pole. Once I get my blue check mark, that tells me that it's now in the system. And I can click on it. It's going to open it in Word, again, online, and have all that information filled in. If you're talking about formatting here is messed up, you can always look at these things because it's that format is what's off. So you want to fix the formatting for each one of those fields. And if, again, I need to go a little further, you can do that. It's all about formatting once you get it open. And again, I can come in and make adjustments. And then close it. And again, it's saving it because I opened it in Neos and it's in the web. It's already saving it. Good. So Jeff asked, can you show how to pull multiple records from a tab like records or treating tab? So again, it's getting into making sure those record requests are filled in, filling in that provider, and then bringing in their tags. and using that multi-record. And once you've got that information, putting that information in, double clicking. Yay. Okay.
So Michelle Day is asking for demand counter, demand purposes. Is there a code for alphabetical or numerical amounts you want to specify in the document? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, Michelle. Sorry. Yeah, Michelle, can you elaborate on that and we'll come back to it?
Please.
All right. Next is, how do we have tables show in a document? For example, when we were doing demands and want the medical provider's name and the amount billed.
So when you're opening that item up and you may have tables, you've still got to insert tables just like you saw before. Again, just because I'm using the web version doesn't mean I don't get that same functionality that comes from the desktop version. So if you needed to insert a table and it had multiple bookmarks in there, you would come down to where you wanted it. And I'm just going to go right here, go up a little bit, and insert a 2x2. And at that point, I can just stretch those open and put the provider, their address, or whatever bookmarks I wanted at that point there. Okay.
Okay. The next one is, walk us through how to add the staff signature as a merge.
Okay, staff. So I went to case, the category staff, and then I just went down to signature. And I would double click it, and whoever you choose as the staff member, that's whose signature is going to come in. Lucy, I hope that helped you. Pam, I see you typing to her.
I think you just answered this one. Will the online version of Word have the capability of properly handling table layouts? We have no control over how Word handles it, but we
far as it looks now, it
time.
looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks right.
Okay. If you choose the staff person, is that a prompt or all other things you want to choose, i.e. check amount, check number, etc.?
No, go ahead, Pam. I'm gonna let you answer that one.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So if you choose a staff person, choosing a staff person's not going to give you a check amount, check number. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Rhonda. If you can follow up with us.
Yeah, Rhonda, with that, when you're choosing a staff member, it's just saying that, hey, Eric is sending this letter, Pam is sending this letter, Rhonda's sending this letter. That has nothing to do with the prompts. The prompt is, hey, I'm sending this request for a police report to ABC law enforcement agency, and please find a check enclosed in the amount of X, or check number 1234. I would have the check number in the prompt in the amount of, and have the prompt for the amount of the check to request these police records for, or this accident report for this client.
Okay. How about if the same party has two email addresses? So I'm assuming Lucy's wanting to know if are you wanting both email addresses to populate, or so depending on the tag you use.
Right. So, and Pam, you're going right down the avenue that I was about to say. If you're choosing that first party and then first party second email address, you would want to use that as a bookmark because it's going to ask you. It says, "Hey, Eric's got 3 email addresses. Which one do you want? Office." Hang on. Is it business, other, or personal? So again, you would want to put that second bookmark for that other party's email address, and it would just be treated like the first party.
Okay. Here you go, Eric. Here's TrialWorks. It's a Neo's question. In TrialWorks, we have the capability of choosing a mailing address for a contact from the correspondence tab. If the contact has multiple addresses, is there a way to do that in Neos other than changing the default mailing address setting in the contact itself? Can this choice be accomplished somehow in the template setup itself?
Again, you would use that same email or physical address, and that's your default that it would come in. And then you would add a second one where you could choose that it may be their business or whatever else it is. But home and business are the 2 addresses that you could bring in now. It's just like bringing in the multiple email addresses for that same client. Chris wrote, beginners need to know that the list feature exists, maybe skip VBA calculating. Chris, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he wants you to show, so in a template, how to do a list. Like if you're listing multiple things.
And again, it would, and I'm just saying first name, first last name, address, city, state, zip. You could add all of those, and I've just added a couple here just to give you an example. Adding those different items in there. So I'm hoping that's what you're after, being able to add multiple bookmarks to come into that one section or that one segment. So hopefully, Chris, that's what you wanted. I believe.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's talking about.
Okay. Okay. Good. Being able to add multiple bookmarks to pull in the adjuster's first name. And again, those bookmarks are there. And that's why I don't like using the address, because there's already a bookmark that pulls all of that in. It would be adding multiple items like a date of birth, date created in the CV. Okay. No, when we make a pleading, we serve one attorney, but he usually has personal email, secondary email for service, and sometimes a third email. How do we add 2 or 3 emails from the same party? So again, that goes into the tag. When you're talking about that email, default email, business email, personal email, you get those bookmarks. So you could add the, and hang on a second, I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna add the business email. Then I'm gonna bump down one, and I'm gonna add the service email. Then I'm gonna bump down and add the secretary's email, or whatever it may be. Okay. Hopefully that answered that. Mallory asked, how do we get the colors beside the documents? Okay, so again, this is more for your administrators. So when you're in your settings and your document types, when you see your document types here, so say I'm gonna say correspondence, right here in the label color, you can change that label color to what you want. So then once it shows up in the case, you get your label colors. Again, Mallory, I'm gonna go over it real quick. Settings, document types, choose the one you want to edit, double click on it, change that label color. Natasha said in permissions. I don't know what that means, Natasha. I'm sorry. Oh, I just realized it is 12:56.
Yep, I was getting ready to tell you, Eric.
All right. So hopefully we've covered everything about templates, adding multiple of the same tag to get across multiple people or the same person. Also being able to add lists. So if you wanted, like the list that Jeff was talking about, where I wanted to add the list of the email address, the business, the personal, the whatever, service email, whatever it is that you may want to create or add, and doing those things. And then once you've created that template, being able to create that document and have it live in that case for you. Please continue with the questions. We are going to actually have we're going to answer all the questions. So we will have those questions. We will email everyone that we can, those questions and answers. Also, everyone's going to get a copy of the recording of this webinar, our academy. And again, please feel free to click on and sign up for the next academy. I appreciate everyone's attendance today. Holy, we held on to 151 people the whole time, or there was more. That's great. Great turnout, great attendance. If you have questions or concerns, please reach out to your trainer. If you don't know who your trainer is, please feel free to shoot me an email. It's ehill@assemblysoftware.com, and I'll get you in touch with the right people and get you taken care of. I'm going to answer some of these questions real quick. Jeff, hopefully you saw me use the list. Added a list in the template. Charles said, so back to the table. Do we have to just create a table with multiple cells and just delete the ones not needed when we open the document? Charles, that's up to you. You can always, if you already have tables implemented in the template already, use those that are there. You can always turn them on, the grid lines. So if you click on it looks like a little square box with dotted lines all the way around it. You can click on it and say you want to see the grid lines on the top, on the bottom, left, right, or all of the grid lines, and it'll give you all of those grid lines for that table again. Rhonda asked, how do you prompt for a check amount or a check number? In the actual template itself, where we saw tags, to the left of that, just a hair, it says prompt. At that point, it's going to pop up on the right-hand side. It's going to ask you to enter what you want to show up in the prompt. And then right below that, it's going to tell you to choose, is it currency, date, time, or special, or text. I was talking about the list feature from the Neos toolbar, not the tag option. Chris, maybe shoot me an email, Chris, and let's talk about what you're talking about and see if we can't get you taken care of.
I think Jessie needs to talk to her IT people about functionality of Microsoft and stuff like that.
Yeah, Jesse, you should have the exact same functions in the Office suite that you have now. You should have those exact same functions in the web version that you do in the desktop version. Definitely should have those. Thank you, Beth. We do appreciate everyone's attendance, and I appreciate everyone sticking around and hanging out with us as long as we can and just letting us ramble for a bit. With that being said, I can't thank you guys enough for attending. I am going to close the webinar now. I do appreciate it more than you know. And I really can't thank you enough. And have a great week, everyone. Be well.